This ramp in North Queensland has been designed to advance the cattle industry. It's the brainchild of John Lethbridge, who used his lifetime of knowledge.
I've made my money out of the beef industry all my life. I've been a grazier and a cattle transporter. I've been in both industries. So, for better or for worse, when I retired, I said, out of respect to the animals and out of respect to my mates that are still carting animals, I will endeavour to compile all the good things I've seen, the good points I've seen in various ramps right around Queensland, the Territory, and also add a few ideas of my own, and Sean Chapman, who actually constructed the ramp for me, his ideas too, into that, and put it into one unit, purely to basically showcase to industry, basically what a good professional ramp looks like.
Fix your behaviour and fix your infrastructure, and lots of the stress will go away.
Their work has impressed industry vet Jeffrey Fordyce.
Typically you have cowboys with jiggers and prodders and lots of noise and action trying to load a ramp, and here we have a situation with a well-designed ramp where Grandma with a half-broken dog could load a triple in about quarter of an hour and Grandma wouldn't even break into a sweat, right? Because you don't have to get in with the cattle have no fear of it. The way it has been brilliantly designed to take away the threat that the loading process involves.
Probably the most controversial but the most game-changing one is the width of the ramp. As you see, it's a big wide ramp. I think it's about 1.7 or something, Chappie and I made it. It's the same width as when all the load doors are completely open in the truck, as though you were going to unload. That was an idea that I copied from ramps that are in place at the moment, the Blackwell Sale Yard. All the truckies that ever loaded there say they were the best ramps in Queensland. This ramp is much, much longer. Your angle of approach of the cattle going up, of ascent or whatever, is very, very slow, as you see. It's not a very steep ramp at all. Most of the success of why it works so well is the width, because cattle aren't confined into a single file procession onto the truck, and just the psychological reassurance that those animals get from going up as a herd rather than as a single animal is just profound. So they take a lot less pressure. They want a load.
So there have been some paradigms that, yes, single file, but also go around corners, also that you can't see where they're going. And here John has done and is made it straight so they can see where they're going. And quite incredibly, they respond way, way better than cattle under these circumstances before. I'm led to believe that if you go to the US, they are also changing, right? And we are changing. So the interesting thing is this is not the only wide ramp that's happening. It's not the only place where change is happening. What's happened here is the very best. You're seeing today the very best that can be achieved. It's only in the last 5 to 10 years that we've really challenged what we thought were the rules. And particularly guys like John, he keeps telling everyone that he's a dumb, but in fact he's quite brilliant. And he works with another guy, Chappie, who's also quite brilliant. And they're passionate and they understand the problem they're dealing with, and they're coming up with extraordinary solutions.
John's nephew and North Queensland cattle producer Russell Lethbridge is the first customer for stressless ramps. He's purchased 2 of them, including this one he's showcasing on Amber Station near Mount Surprise in North Queensland.
I guess a bit selfish on my part. I want my job to be easier. I'm not getting any younger. To me, it's just an investment in our business for the future. And yeah, my great-grandchildren will benefit from it, I hope. I've actually seen cattle, 4 decks of cattle reload themselves on there without anyone doing it.
Seriously?
Yep. Yep, I've never seen that in my life before. But
Russell is also a board member of Industry Research and Development Corporation Meat and Livestock Australia. He's using that position to try and influence a cultural shift in the livestock industry towards investment into cattle loading infrastructure and more effort into planning livestock journeys.
I probably experienced some less than ideal activities going on at times. Not all bad, but enough to be concerned about. And there is only one way to solve the issues, and that's to bring the transport industry and the production industry and all the stakeholders along and solve the common issues together. Anything from loading densities wrong, particularly to do with preparation of animals before transport, James, that is so important to an ideal outcome. Nearly all the stuff that we talk about actually puts money back in producers' pockets because it's all better transport outcomes is more profitable for everybody in the supply chain, and not only that, the end user. It's animals going into feedlots. They settle down and feed from day one rather than take 3 weeks to settle down. Animals going on live export vessels. They've got a big trip ahead of them. The last thing you want is highly stressed animals going onto a ship here in Australia.
MLA has now set up a transport hub to help producers answer critical questions before loading cattle and building infrastructure. Sharon Dundon is a livestock transporter and leader of the Transport Hub. She says bringing the production and transport sides of the industry closer is key to improving the livestock industry's standards.
I think the important thing is it's all about safety. So it's safety for your staff, for the animals, and more so for the operators as well. And it's not about putting millions and millions of dollars or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars into safe infrastructure. It actually may just be some bare basics that you need to do. And I'd encourage people to actually talk to other operators, talk to your transport operator. If there's something that you're not sure about, they go into any number of infrastructure, be it good, bad or ugly, and they can tell you some of the basic things that could make a fundamental safe change to your infrastructure.
Earlier this year, Beef Central profiled Australia's top 25 biggest livestock transporters, a project that involved talking to more than 50 transport companies. From that feature, there were two clear messages coming out of the transport industry. One, there's a need for more drivers, and two, truckies love a good loading ramp.
Double-decker loading ramps and catwalks make our life so simple. I don't have to work so hard when you're loading cattle. They're safer in the regard, if you've got double-decker ramp and a catwalk, I don't even have to get in that crate to shut my doors, and there's always a possibility a beast will come back and knock you down or jump all over the top of you. Plenty of blokes have been hurt loading cattle, eh?
John Lethbridge says producers need to take some responsibility for the driver shortage.
The average grazier probably only loads a few, once a month or once every 3 months. That's all he does. So he doesn't really see the need to have really good infrastructure. A truckie is loading cattle every day. Now, I can tell you from doing it professionally, if you have about 3 bad days in a row where the cattle aren't prepared properly, the infrastructure is far below par, suddenly a job either in transport, pulling tankers or something, or going to the mines or driving, and most of these guys, if they've had time driving cattle road trains, they're pretty adaptable, mate, they're pretty smart men. So they can get a job anywhere. So, yeah, graziers have got a big part to play. And just the basics, as was covered today, make him feel part of your operation. Treat him like a business partner and look after him. He's got a lot of money of yours on board that truck.
This group, who have come to Amber Station, all agree that a ramp as well engineered as this one on show is not viable for all producers, but they say small changes can make a big difference to both the livestock transporters and the industry as a whole.
This is probably the gold standard, and I don't expect that a lot of the industry would go to this level. However, the whole industry at one level or another, we've got to all sharpen up a bit and do a better job. Absolutely, it's from a lot of different angles.
Jeffrey Fordyce says there is a good business case to invest in cattle loading facilities.
When you're trying to cut corners, things go wrong, right? Or you're using inappropriate systems, and it's those things that go wrong is where you make the money, right? There are chronic losses by having inefficient facilities, and the chronic losses in this particular case relate to the disease outcomes at the other end by stress-related disease by having rubbish facilities, right? Particularly pneumonia and diarrhoea, which cost a lot of kilograms plus veterinary bills that transporters don't see, but those that have the stock down the other end, they're dealing with these chronic issues all of the time, and the people that receive them are very cognizant of the fact that cattle that are well handled and have had little stress experience this. So those chronic, that chronic loss or to the system is dealt with by this, and that's not minor. If even if it's only $1 or $2 per animal, every time you do a transaction, holy crikey! And if you're shifting 100,000 animals a year, very quickly the chronic stuff adds up. You just get one person hurt out of your system. That could be 50 grand. Like when you think about all of the costs of re-employment and everything else, someone really gets hurt, changes their life, particularly in your family, then your payoff's, 5 minutes.